It's DI shit 2020.
Yep.
Young nigga shit, you feel me? Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, Kansas City, and we in New York.
Yeah.
Diamond Cut.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Diamond Cut LLC, man. Y'all real
shout out to
smooth,
T
man.
for being the guy. You know
real
what I'm
ass
saying?
nigga,
He slid
bro.
out here. We was talking for like 30 minutes. We in Queens. He came, bro. No, he came to Queens for us, y'all. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's love
On everything.
on everything.
Yeah.
Day one.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate
bro.
you.
What's good? It's your boy Musa Reems, aka Drip to My Lou. We here in Queens, New York to cook up some work, you feel me? I'm here with my boy Wuzii Reems, Dumb Intelligence. That's our group. We gonna make some hits. Musa. For the low.
I heard words cut deep, but I know a bullet kills. I witness shit that most people that's out here probably wouldn't heal. I run with people who feel this nigga and do hood shit still. Cause me and my guys always been ghetto boys like Bush or Bill. Jugging deals, they in the kitchen, but they ain't cooking meals. Half of the shit that I learned, honestly, I can say took me years. I'm experienced with this shit, I probably give you rookie shills. I kept it 100, most of these fuck niggas ain't usually real. Regrouped and kill, salute the veil. The truth is real, register proof and
Ready? Yeah. Like the Wu-Tang Clan.
You gonna play John Deere?
Yeah.
This is unreleased?
Unreleased. We gonna play all unreleased shit, bro.
Unreleased.
Musa Reems. Hold up, bitch. Wait right here. All of my niggas coming through with a gear.
It's produced by Wuzii.
He makes it big on the beat.
Fucking bullshit, crystal clear. I just motherfucking said from the blood. Tell a nigga I'm a love, smoking gas on the block. We just want some fucking love. Hey, young nigga call. That nigga shit for double time. Know a nigga good, any hood, any day. Niggas see me and I'm fucking up a bad way. Shorty slugging bad, tryna see if that mouth good. Come here, little baby, I'ma show you what a nigga does. Really, yeah.
So the track we just heard just now was...
It was John Deere by Wuzii Reems. Me and him get together on tracks. It's just me and him on the collective Dumb Intelligence, which is like a group of us just getting jiggy together. You feel me?
It's just like whenever I guess when I make beats, and sometimes they'll fit like a Dumb Intelligence pocket or like a Wuzii Reems pocket, because there's just shit that I know that if I make it for him, like we'll go in on it. And
So y'all like the modern day Dre and Snoop.
Type shit, you feel me?
Shit, it might be. You
And
know,
I homie Lex on that too.
Yeah,
You're
Lex
part
is
of
on
DI.
that too.
Okay.
Yeah, he from Detroit.
He's
So,
from Detroit,
yeah.
yeah.
And you're from
Chicago,
Baltimore. How did you guys meet up?
School.
Okay. Also random like this art shit in Chicago. The art scene in Chicago is really like united at this point. It's like a lot of people just fucking with each other.
A lot of close connections.
Yeah, a lot of. If you know one person, you probably know another person type shit.
Yeah, right.
So I would just see him in my shows, but to be real, like real. He was at my shows, just rapping my shit word for word.
Okay.
And like I'm like, man, this dude cool as fuck. And we just met off of that, like on some art shit. He was like doing photo shit too and like video shit. He was just like, yo, I think you hard. And he invited me over to his crib, and he was like, yo, bro, I make beats. You should just cook up sometimes. And he just like friends, bro. That's my nigga. Like it's the craziest thing too because you don't necessarily see things coming together at that point.
Right.
And he had the idea originally of like doing some group shit because I was just doing my solo work at first, but we became so close. He threw the idea out basically of like us doing work together, and I'll just let him fill it out from there. Like,
Yeah, G. It was just let's just feel. I feel like most niggas, if you ever meet a nigga, it's like on some music shit. Like it's not. You're not expecting to like immediately get into making music with somebody. Cause I feel like we became friends first before we started making music.
And that's so important. So
it was like I don't know. We just like we're feeling each other out. Like just trying to see like what are you trying to do? Like are you really trying to do this shit? Cause sometimes you working with niggas and they just don't be about it. Right. And then it was just like it started adding more and more dudes to what Dumb Intelligence was becoming.
So the whole team is like tight knit, like a
family.
family.
It's really a family thing.
We can like chill in my crib and be just like watching the dumbest shit on TV, like cracking jokes.
Like, I fry some fish and shit like that. I be like cooking. I be
Really?
chefing it.
Yeah, all the time.
We be chilling, bro.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, we can like knock some shit out. And that's pretty much what we be doing.
Yeah. And I basically do with this nigga, bro. Like, over this nigga career record. It's funny because I literally sleep on this nigga couch, bro. We just knock out like records. And it's so crazy because Dumb Intelligence wasn't a thing until like August.
Oh,
I met Free Snacks at a show. Like, it was my first show in a while in Chicago too. Yeah. And this shit, it felt like we known each other for like forever. But like, even when he said like Dad Stop V1, like Kevon, I knew them for a while. Like, I'm 22 now. I met them when I was 18. So we was all just like, they always stood out to me. You know how you meet people and like, I'll bet like instantly you can just be like, that person different. They seem like a real ass like person. They got good energy. And like, I just noticed all the people I thought about that. I kept them in mind because I always knew I wanted to do some group shit. But I didn't know how it would like come together into like a realistic plan and like something tangible. So me and him started making records together, and then it kind of just clicked one night. I was over my homie house. He from Detroit too, and I just said Dumb Intelligence. Like, it was just two different words put next together, and I'm like, yo, that shit clicked, bro. I was low-key zooted too. I was like,
This nigga called me,
bro.
This
I
nigga
called all of them, G.
this nigga
I said, bro, I
called me.
remember I was
Bro,
texting people, bro.
I gotta talk to you, man.
Bro, dead ass,
I gotta
bro.
talk to you for. Hey, man. I know. He said I'm super zooted right now, bro. But I just came up with some shit, bro. Bro. Dumb Intelligence, man. I was like, nigga, what?
He made a logo. Like,
Yeah,
He
that
made a logo
night, probably.
too.
Yeah.
That
He showed
same
me like
night.
2 days later at the
I
show.
was like, damn, this man
And
for real.
And it's like
That
certain
shit.
thing. I was in a group when I first started rapping. I was like in a group,
Right.
and like the one thing I wanted to do was to expand that group. But it taught me a lot because I was like 15 to 16 at that time, and we was getting some like plugs in the city from shit. So that's kind of how I got my idea, knowing that I wanted to rap.
Right.
But it's like me going through another life cycle and like a change in my life. I was like graduated school and shit. So when I met him, it was like, okay, I want to do this for real.
Yeah.
And we just realized this. We don't make music. We don't view music as like a thing that we kind of want to do. It's like, this is our career, and that's why it's fun every day too, because we putting that amount of work into it. And when you got your homies doing it with you too, and we all from different places, and that's why it's so enjoyable for me too, because it's DI just ain't a Chicago thing. DI is a worldwide thing.
Right.
And we like, we here in New York, we like with y'all, like this is like some family shit. And like, we want y'all to be comfortable and be able to be like, we can do this shit too, and we just linking and like spreading the love type shit. So that's what Dumb Intelligence is.
How many members is it?
Shit, nigga.
Original members probably like 8, but we deep. It's like deeper than that, to be honest. Because as I said, we were. Yeah.
I'd say there's 8 people right now.
Yeah.
Okay, 8.
Like, that's a strong, solid number.
Yeah.
I
That's
ain't
like.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 8 because you turn an 8 on that side, that bitch turn into infinity.
Yeah.
Hey.
And the thing is too, like, we got that's some real shit. Like, it's
Yeah.
forever, and it's like young. We ain't only rappers. You feel me? Like, it's not only rappers in the collective. So I rap, doing some of the graphic stuff. Wuzii.
I make beats, I rap, I do video, I do photo. Yeah, I kind of just do a lot of shit.
Yeah, we got my homie for the world. He DJ for us. He do like the graphic stuff, clothing stuff. A lot of us ain't really into streetwear too. That's why we rock with New York hella. Just coming up on like a lot of the streetwear within like big cities in America and overseas really like intertwine with the music scene. Right. So we don't like listen to parties within places in Chicago that's big in terms of like just wearing clothes and just being jiggy and just having like style to you. So like we would those shows are like I had a listening party at Juggernaut. My homie worked at Fat Tiger Workshop, which is like Joe Fresh Goods. That's for the world. And we was around all that culture just soaking it up, to be honest. And now we just trying to do it in our own way and branch out. And we had examples of people that did it great. So we just taking that idea a step further.
Who were some of the like examples that you seen that you was like, yeah, I'm definitely that's something we need to do in terms of mixing music with the fashion?
Shit, I would say the first person I think really in my mind that really like started mixing the fashion with the music was probably Channel. I would say Chance.
Yeah.
Like, Chance did it really good because he brought back people wanting to wear hats.
Yep.
Again. And I always thought that was interesting. And like people always fucked with them at Juggernaut. People always fucked with them as like Fat Tiger and shit like
Right.
that. And like, you know, his merch was like awesome.
Right.
Like, his merch slapped.
And to allude to that too, yeah. Chicago, the collective scene was really strong.
Yeah.
Save Money.
Save Money.
They
the whole
used to
Save Money
post
crew.
stickers. Like they had a
Yeah.
great brand. It used to be big red stickers. There was like kind of like a similar to a box logo,
Yeah.
like a Supreme box logo around the city, and they was just really into like not Chicago shit, but kind of just worldly shit in terms of the way they were dressing and also incorporating the music, and they were deep. So that was like happening in like the early part of the decade, and you had people like groups coming out like GBE, and it was a lot of things going on in one city at one time. So when you got that happening in one place, it made us realize we can do what we want to in our own way. Like we don't have to change up who the fuck we are. We can.
You can really like just explore what you want to do.
Right.
In Chicago, it's cool that it's gotten to that point now where niggas can have like way different styles and like
we still fuck with each other.
We still fuck with each other.
Respect it. Yeah.
Because I remember when I moved to Chicago, it was like, well, first off, I still had the YouTube like, bro, it still be popping out on my ass every once in a while. But they was like, oh, you ain't from here, huh? Like just the way I be dressing, like sperried up like a motherfucker. I be wearing Sperry's like, I like to pound that shit, nigga. I had like 6 pair of them bitches, but it was like, you know, just bringing my own like steez and like style and shit to like, you know, Chicago and everything. And because when I moved here, I started making drill music. Like I produced drill music. That's how I made money.
So you guys are from Chicago, you know, home of the drill music.
Yeah.
So you're in New York today, obviously recording. How do you feel about like this new Brooklyn drill, the sound of the city now?
I fuck with it.
Me too.
No, I mean I personally fuck with it because I don't know. I feel like there was a time when it was like the boom. Cut, boom, 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 cut, boom, boom, like type shit. Where
Boom
it was,
bap rap.
like yeah, boom bap. But then even like the Bobby Shmurda shit, and then like Bobby Shmurda and Young M.A. Young M.A. was like was around the same time as Bobby Shmurda. But like Young M.A. she's like she's held her fucking pocket, bro. Right. And it's great because she still keeps that same type of style. It's just really nice and refreshing though to see like with the drill shit here in like in New York where. Yeah, it does sound like, I mean, like, Elephant in the Room, yeah, it does sound like UK drill, but it's like, they're still talking about the same real-ass shit. It's just a different, you're just using your tools different. Like, exactly. You're still talking about real-ass shit. It's just, so what, you're using a style that you feel can accompany that shit. So, I respect that and I fuck with it.
And that's why I feel like New York drill is its own thing, because it's taking like an idea, but y'all doing it in y'all own way.
Yeah. And
that's what's really dope about it to me, because it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm taking this idea, I can do it just like somebody else.
Yeah, man.
But when I hear New York drill, it don't sound like any other drill. Same thing with Chicago drill or like UK drill. It's because we all telling these stories in our own ways, and we adding certain cadences and pockets to it. And it was so refreshing to like listen to it here, because we said something in the cars like, damn, everybody having fun. And you can hear the fun in the music. You can hear it in the drum music. You can hear that we talking about stuff that like, I feel like when we made music, it was me finding my purpose as like a young man, and like I'm talking about real shit on my records, and that being able to occupy a space and make room for everybody and make sure everybody feel comfortable, but like also being realistic and being honest at the same time. Be like, this is my story, and like this is what the fuck I seen, this is the fuck I did, and this is how I'm like living my life. And it's things that can either go one way or other, but we just realized that we taking something productive with it. You feel me? And we just making hits out of it, and we telling our story so other people can be inspired by it.
Coming from Chicago, how was the drill scene out there? Because it took over the country, so I can only imagine the city.
That shit was wild.
It was. I mean, there was definitely like an oversaturation for the drill scene in Chicago. Just from because I worked in studios too, so I started off like wanting to like engineer and record people, but I guess I just got really into production. But just like from an engineer standpoint, it was just like everybody came and wanted to make drill. And, you know, it was kind of like, you know, if you had a hard beat and you had your niggas with you, then yeah, you could probably hit some shit and it could probably smack. But, you know, authenticity is going to show. And it's going to be telling. And the ones who it really showed with, they doing what they doing. Like, they got numbers.
It was crazy.
It was definitely crazy. It was fun.
It was
really fun.
Experience Chicago during that time.
During that time, it was so fun as hell.
It was so much to do, bro. It was like
you'd be waiting
on
drops, bro.
The vibes was crazy in Chicago.
You'd be waiting on releases, bro. Man. You'd be like, oh, you heard that new Reese?
Even going to the shows, like the show, bro, like shit's wrapped around blocks, bro. Jeez. Police. It was just like it used to be wild, bro. And the crazy thing about it, when that was happening, I was on a totally different way. I was into like the Live Love ASAP shit, like the Joey shit. That's what I was listening to during the drill. And being able to like look back on it while living in Chicago and seeing the drill music with the accompaniment of like people like Saba and like Mick Jenkins and all that's coming like up, it made me realize I can have my own voice. But drill music was just so in your face and just so wavy, bro. Like Keith I can still look at stuff from this day, Louis, all of them, and you can just see how it spread worldwide. And in that moment, we didn't realize that. It's so crazy because if you was living in a moment at Drill, you knew it was gonna be big, but it just took off.
Yeah,
and it influenced so many people.
A nigga was on G-Herbo before that nigga was
Herb.
on G-Herbo.
Yeah.
That was a little herb.
That
That
was
was a little herb right there.
Yeah.
And
4
like,
minutes.
oh,
Shit, right?
geez,
And
like, all that shit.
It's so funny because the amp, when I did amp, the reason why I wanted to do amp, because C-Sick was producer for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
C-Sick.
I seen C-Sick was with amp. He's producer for like for her.
C-Sick got a whole
Bibby,
bag off of the entire
man,
drill scene.
And like he dropped the project with the label, so I'm like, damn. I was in high school at this time, and I had seen Saba do something with the label too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I feel like I can do that. So I ended up going to Columbia for that reason. I didn't even tell nobody that. I went to Columbia like to do the amp program and like learn music business.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like my goal. I wrote that down.
This is Columbia in Chicago.
Yeah, Columbia College, Chicago.
Not the one here.
Yeah. You feel me? Yeah. But we went there, and I kind of just found myself. It was cool to be around people that was into art, because Chicago mad segregated. And that's why I really rock with New York, because when we out there, it's like black or white, to be real with you. And it's nothing more than that. And when you in neighborhoods, you just around people that look like you, and it's cool to be in different places and see how other people live and just take people for what they are. And like, when you have that palette, being from Chicago kind of make you get into like routines and like get hungry for certain things. It's a hunger in Chicago because you want to see different and you want to be able to explore those things. So me going to art school was like it was like kind of like culture shock. You feel me? Like growing up, and I grew up in the burbs too. So like I grew up on out west in Chicago, the Austin neighborhood, in the burbs, the west suburbs, Maywood, Broadview. I grew up in Broadview. It was just it's different too because it's like a juxtaposition to what the city is. It's it's like I can't put it into words how New York it is.
It'll be like, you know, someone living in the Bronx, or someone being from the Bronx and then someone being from like Westchester. It's just like right outside of the Bronx, so you're not necessarily in the city, but you're in the outskirts, but you're close enough.
Yeah,
to
you close.
be
Exactly.
influenced by it.
Where shit still be popping off.
Yeah, popping off. Exactly, and it's like you get the grit. It was gritty growing up, and you just get this chip on your shoulder. Like I had the chip on my shoulder growing up. And
Maywood is rough.
Yeah,
Maywood.
And I grew up in Broadview, and then Maywood is like right next door. I went to school in Proviso Math and Science. So Proviso East, I played sports at East, and Lucky went to East, Shannon Brown, Fred Hampton, like all of those.
So it has some legends.
Yeah,
like Fred Hampton from the Black Panther.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's all. Yeah.
Legendary.
So seeing like Lucky, I was seeing them progress is so crazy because you just got people in front of you that you just like, damn, like I could do this too. And it's a smaller. It's kind of how like. It's just a smaller town, but we just got that appeal that everybody else do. Cause I can hop on the blue line and be right in the city, or the green line and be out west. And most of our parents either moved from out west, cause the thing happened in Chicago probably like what, the 70s, the 80s, probably later than that. Well, a lot of the people got moved out the city into the burbs. So the burbs is like black suburbs.
Right. Like
So
Richmond Park is the south, like the south suburbs and shit like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of like the same thing. So it's been happening like west and south, where they just moving black folks more and more out of the city.
Exactly. It's happening here now.
Word.
Oh,
in New York City. Yeah.
Damn. Where they pushing that? Where they pushing that?
I don't even know. They're just like kicking us out the city though. It's gentrification.
Yeah,
is the terminology
yeah.
for it, but.
They was trying to call Harlem Soho.
Soho.
Yeah, we're not having it.
That shit. That's good, bro. No, that's so yeah. That shit real, and it's so crazy too.
Disrespect.
Because like when I was just telling him, like, especially being in Chicago, when you start to see that happening, you really can tell. Because it's at least out here is like it's less segregated. When you in Chicago, you can tell immediately, and it's just like damn, like when you start seeing shit that you grew up on not there no more, and like it's just a different feel to the community.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Just like living in East Harlem and then seeing how it is like before I went to college and then coming back home is just like
damn.
What the fuck? Like,
that shit happened quick as a
yeah,
motherfucker
like,
too.
Quick.
Cause it feels like college. It feels like 4 years. That feels like a long time, but that ain't shit.
It's only a piece of time. That's the crazy thing about it too. Is like I feel like when you go through these phases, you kind of. I was telling him about this. You kind of lose sight of actually living. So when you in a moment. You get time to interpret certain things, and like I guess us growing up, like us making music helped us figure out our purpose and how to grow into something. And what I realized is that I went through a lot of moments, and it was dope that I was such a free spirit, but I could be using my time even more to really interpret and understand what's going on around me. So now that I got that knowledge and experience, some things in life just cause you to change, and with that change, when it's a positive one, you can be able to be like, okay, I remember this happening. I can apply what I learned and then make a growth, like a step in progress. So me and him just been basically doing that with it's a life thing, bro. Art imitates life, and it's a natural flow to like this order. We literally like meet up, cook up, be with cool ass people like y'all, and just make we just make music, bro. And like that's the beautiful thing about this art thing, because there's so many people that I did not know, bro, and we just had an open mind about certain things. And I think that's rare too, because a lot of people like they see other people and they think we can't all eat. And I will not be afraid to be like, Joe, I heard your shit, and that shit was fire, G. And that's exactly how me and him.
Yeah,
it's so rare.
Nina Tech is one example, bro.
Exactly.
This is rapper Nina Tech. She
From
cold
Chicago.
as fuck. From Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
She had a release party out here in New York.
Yep.
But she hard as fuck, bro. And it's just like, just telling people that they're cold and just leaving it at that. Like just saying, hey, I think you're cold. That's it. No, can you do like no? Just stop it right there.
Right.
Like
it's important.
Like,
No money
just
in their
support
pocket.
it.
Like
Yeah,
all
that's
that.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
really supporting people.
Yeah,
And
buy those t-shirts, buy that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what we've been on. Like, and it's so fun. It's so fun because you get to see people like really excited, and when you see people enthusiastic about what they're doing, they create things that you don't even think is like possible. And we've been talking about making music, and like music is meant to be heard, but we feel like you gotta feel music. Like music is meant to be felt in your body. And I had read this like on this OK Player like interview recently. It was talking about how Pharrell was talking about how similar drug use and like music is. It's like intoxicating. And we be on stage, bro, and it's so funny because we be teasing.
Yo ass, man.
Okay, he said I'll get.
I have video of your ass, bro. This man, he had like the 1,000-yard stare. This nigga was just like,
you look at him, you get
in
scared,
the crowd.
bro.
Like, I be like,
those
damn,
eyes,
nigga.
bro.
This man took his fucking shirt off, bro. He was like, bro, what are you doing?
And it's
man?
so cool because it's like everybody rocks with it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like I always tell them, like, we not trying to like really get this shit. A mosh pit ain't nothing that motherfuckers not scraped up. You feel me? Like, motherfuckers losing earrings, and it's really like that. Like, and it's so cool because it's not just dudes. It's not just like women. It's like if you relate to it, you can find a lane. And people
rolled his ankle.
Rolled my ankle, yeah, bro. My shit was damn near blue, bro. Like we be team, bro. Like we be really wild, and it's be, man, it be fun ass shit because it's just memories. It's like you really feel this adrenaline rush when you up there, and it's so powerful to me because when you rapping, you see all of these people looking at you, and they hanging on to every word, bro. Like when we up there, it's just like, damn, it's like what he gonna say next, or like how can I relate to this and put it to my life, and for somebody to be like that dedicated to what you saying, I don't take that for granted. You feel me? So it's just art is a beautiful thing, man. I'm lucky to do it with my brothers and my people, my family, and that's the thing too. We want to expand it to like to so many people. Where whatever you identify as, like, if you really rock with us, like you can do it. And that's the thing about people. If you let themselves be who they want to be unapologetically, they're gonna grow in so many ways if you just let them flow into whatever person they want to be in life. And that's our main focus. We don't try to push people in no certain direction, because me and him have a different workflow than everybody else in Dumb Intelligence, and vice versa. But we allow each other's workflows to create a growing environment. And I think that's so important. We gonna be like, damn, why you not throwing verses is? People gonna pick their spots. Or me and him know we can do certain things, and realizing that and not making it awkward when we around each other. Like even when me and him make songs, we be like, we not feeling this. It's not like some people get stuck on projects and they don't know when to stop.
Yeah, they're afraid to like say, hey, I'm not feeling this, or this beat ain't hitting, or those lyrics aren't really working with this right now. Like we kind of, I don't know, it's weird because we just do it and it doesn't like there's no, and it even happens when we're like with the other members of like DI, because it's just like we'll all be like grouped up. I'll just be like working on something. I'll be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this one. How about y'all? They're like, it's cool, but like we can go on. I'm like, all right, cool, and then just make something else.
We just make music, and then just work. The workflow is just very important because when you're able to communicate without communicating, it just makes the process way simpler, and it makes it more organic too. The music feels realer because you're not forcing it.
Let's talk about. I know you said Chicago is very diverse, and like listening to your music, you don't sound like you're from Chicago. Like he said, you sound like from New York. But Chicago also, besides the drill music, has legends like Lupe, Kanye. Were some of those guys influences to you?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't realize how much of an influence he was.
Oh, yeah, Common too.
Until I got to college, because they were talking about how good I am at storytelling, and I learned that from listening to like old Common records. And the thing about Chicago is in the middle of the country. And when I was coming up, Chicago didn't really have like a huge hip hop scene. So Kanye and it was just getting on, and it allowed me like to branch out. But I remember I used to listen to this group called All Natural, like some underground rap shit, Chicago rap shit. Lupe, it's this group called the Snipers, I used to listen to. Out West shit. I'm trying to think. Crucial Conflict, Do or Die, Twister. Like
Hurt Everybody.
Hurt Everybody was also. They was really dope coming up. They were just this trio that was just doing the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? This hard.
Like on some like hard ass punk.
Punk,
shit.
exactly.
Like almost like some punk shit.
And they shook shit up in the city because they was just doing it by themselves. Like they was. Super went to OPRF, which is like a west suburb too. It's like it borders Austin, so it's like Iman Shumpert, like people like that. They all from.
I forgot he went to OPRF.
Yeah, and like that was another person that I really looked up to because he was just like in the birds, but he also like grew up in the city, and he was fearless, bro. And that's the one thing we kind of like feel like we do. We just fearless. We fearless young niggas, and we just be like, Joe, we can do this, and we just want to make some hits and like basically just show people that they can do it too. And everybody was doing that because they was getting into lineups with people. They was out here just like how we doing it right now. They was with 10 Deep out here like doing a lot of streetwear stuff and just trying to push the culture forward. And I think that's the important thing about art. A lot of people talk about how they want to cultivate art. And the point of art is being able to realize like, okay, this person does this, but how can I bring the best out of them and also share what I have already? So yeah, Chicago hip hop definitely taught me that. It's so many. I can't even name how many people went within the Chicago music scene.
I still want to fade you.
For real?
Yes, nigga. This man, okay, I probably might be the only nigga that apparently has this sentiment, but he thinks that you said graduation is better than college dropout.
I always say
I agree.
It always depends when you grow up. But no, look, it depends when you grow up, bro.
Wow.
No, each person whatever they name their favorite Kanye album is, it depends where they were at in their life. How old were you when College Dropout came out?
Shit, nigga, I think I was still back. I think I was still here. So that could have been like damn near like 3rd or 4th grade, bro.
Okay. Everybody usually falls between middle school to high school. That's what their favorite album is. So wherever you was between middle and high school, that's your favorite Kanye album. I guarantee you, bro. That's what I noticed with people. Cause you a couple years, bro. I'm telling you. Bro, when I heard Graduation.
So you saying I'm an old ass nigga?
No, bro. I'm just saying. You prefer College Dropout.
What grade were you when you heard Graduation?
I had to be like in 6th or 7th grade, I feel like.
Well, alright, and when you heard Dropout, did you say you were like
I was
3rd
like
or 4th?
3rd or 4th grade.
I was similar. I was in 6th grade. That was my first time getting an iPod. My cousin transferred that album onto my iPod.
College Dropout was my first
graduation.
It was my first. See, there we go. That was my first.
Dropout was my first rap CD that I got because I had a CD player. My brother got me a CD player. That was the first like rap CD player that I had, and I played that bitch like front to back.
So would you say Graduation is like the most influential album to you? Or what would you say is
I would say Graduation.
Influential album? Not even just Kanye, just in general in terms of like made you like, yo, I love music.
For me,
that's a good ass question.
I feel like this like some real, just only being some weird shit because it made me realize I can do what I want to. Madlib, and Doom.
Okay.
I just realized I could just be like weird and like I can also just make whatever the fuck I want to and people will rock with it. That was like one album like that to me. 808 and Heartbreaks was like that too. Cause I feel like 808 and Heartbreaks really showed Kanye like shaping the sound for like a next, like what was to come within the next decade. Cause he was making like these records, he was chopping soul samples. And it was so funny because what Kanye was doing in Chicago, it's the same thing with your music. He kind of pushed his way East Coast. And that's why I got into Dipset and like people like that, John Blood, you know what I'm saying? Like Just Blaze and like just being focused on what Rockefeller was doing at that time. Benny, you feel me? And just being caught up in the culture. And it's the same thing as time moves on. You see people make sound changes, and that's what we talk about too. Our artists being open to do different things. We gotta allow artists to do that because we don't realize in the moment how it shapes things. That's what ASAP did. When I seen the Peso video, G, I ain't gonna lie, this how I got into rap, bro. I was watching that shit on my computer, and my pops, he was just be like, Joe, why you always watching this shit? And he came to Pitchfork. And that's a festival in Chicago, like in the summertime. I went to go see him. I'm like, bro, I can do that shit too. I want to rap. And that's what made me want to rap, just seeing like not only was he into like the rap shit, but he was just into everything culture-wise.
He was into fashion culture,
right.
like all that.
And he was working with people not only in New York too. I seen him working with like Schoolboy, so it just made the world even smaller for me. So I got to see people in Cali, what the fuck they was doing, what they was doing in New York, Chicago also. It just made me realize that damn, like it's cool people in my city, but it's cool people in other places too.
Work Remix got me into Schoolboy.
Which one?
The Work Remix.
Work
Remix with Ferg. That got me into Schoolboy.
Brand New Guy got me into Schoolboy. Bro, when Brand New Guy came out, G, that shit, bro, that is a hard ass song, bro. That really shaped the way I make music. Cause a lot of people like,
That's
I
wow.
remember that
Wow.
time period. Like it was yesterday. I was in 10th grade when that tape came out, and like just being in Harlem,
Shit.
like
Man, I
was
can-
crazy.
That shit must have
Man, that had to
that
be-
shit must have
wow.
hitting, bro.
Man.
And it's crazy when you think about those times where like it was you were just like finding that sound, and it was like, damn, you couldn't get enough of it, bro.
Right.
You were just like, where more, more.
Man.
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah, that shit. It was so real, bro. That's why it rocks. Yeah, it was just so real. I related to it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what made me. And it's so funny because people hear my music, like that really know me. We make music in his apartment in Bronzeville, and we walked out the door one day. He got a maintenance dude that worked there.
Oh, this nigga said.
He said,
"Y'all making a
mixtape in there?" This was like a couple, like this probably like a month ago. He said, "Y'all making a mixtape in there?" We was like, "Yeah, so like something like that." He said, "That's dope, bro." He said, "That shit sound fire." He said,
I ain't gonna lie,
man, sound like y'all was beat somebody ass in that room,
we,
bro.
we almost called the police.
Yeah, because we yelling, bro. We like, it's this gutter shit, bro. And when you feel that, it's like, damn, like they really feel this. They feel like when we make music, it's like a catharsis. Like you just letting out everything. And it's
Like, my hope is that you'll get to see it, like when we cook up,
right.
because like it's gonna. I don't know how to explain it, but it just becomes like a path that you just know is gonna result in something like really like that's really dope. And I don't know, it just like you're trying to find. It's like putting a puzzle together almost, and then once you find, you have all the pieces, then it's just like, it's about to be a finished puzzle at the end of this. Now you just gotta put the bitch together.
Right.
And so that's literally what it ends up being. And then it's just cranking it out. We just get more and more used to just doing that.
It's a muscle.
So, yeah.
It was crazy last night. We was chilling with our homies, like our team and stuff. They live in Brooklyn, and they was just talking about like what we trying to do, and we were like in mid conversation. He pulls out his phone and just starts cooking, and that's how quickly it becomes. When we feel inspiration, it's just like we get quiet, and it just works like that. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I heard like the metronome going. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to just pull
no,
it.
that was dope. That was dope. That was sorry.
Yeah,
That was
he
sorry.
just-
From the producer side of things,
Yeah.
like who would you be in Chicago? I know you guys, Kanye, obviously.
Yeah.
But even like closer to our generation, like Young Chop.
Yeah, young.
Like,
Okay, so
who would you say kind of pushed you in that direction?
So pretty much when I came to Chicago, I was initially producing. I was making EDM music.
Okay.
So I was making a lot of like house and like. I looked at trap because like there was like a genre within EDM that was called like trap, and so I was like, okay, that's cool, but I kind of want to do EDM shit. But then when I was in Maryland, I heard Don't Like for the first time, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? This shit slaps. And so then I was like, who made this? And then I saw it was Young Chop, and so then I started like listening to all of their shit, and then that got me into like Lex Luger somehow, and then I started like, listening to Lex Luger and like all the beats that he produced, and so I got my Lex Luger pack off the internet, and then I started fucking around, and then I was like, dang, this shit kind of hard, and so Young Chop became one of the dudes. I was like, I really fuck with this nigga because he did what he had to do to make the beats, bro. This nigga would be lugging his computer like to his homies' houses, like a whole desktop computer. He'd be bringing that bitch to other people's houses.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like to like cook up, bro. And it's just like, I went to UIC and then I got kicked out of UIC because a nigga wasn't taking school seriously. It happens. It really does. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Hey, man. Hey, mom, I'm sorry, man. It happened. I love you, but look at me now. Doing the shits. But it was like I went to Harold because I was still trying to get a degree, all that, and it was I'd have to take the Pace bus from the suburbs to like come to school at Harold, Washington, and so that bitch would come at 4 a.m. So I'd have to wake up at like 3 something to get on the bus so it could drive me. It'd take about a 2-hour drive to get into the city, and then I get at Harold around like 6 or 7 something. They would be open, but classes wouldn't be ready till like 9. So I would just be chilling in the student lounge making beats.
Wow.
And so I would do that every day, and I would just be cooking up. And that's how I met people. That's how I got work because like niggas would always just be seeing me like making beats in the student lounge, and that's how I started, like, once I got, like, good and started, like, working with people and, like, started selling beats, and I was like, what else can I make? And so that's when I started finding out about, like, the Mulattoes and, like, the Ninth Wonders and the, like, the MF Dooms. And then it was, I don't know, it was just kind of, like, learning how to produce from, like, different directions. And so, like, of course, Kanye is, like, my favorite producer. Like, I would say Kanye and Mike Dean. Those are my two favorite producers. Because I would say Kanye is a really great producer. Mike Dean's an amazing composer. Like, he can really, like, put sounds together and, like, create sounds. Like, Kanye is amazing. Like, no, I would say nobody can touch Kanye when it comes to flips or sampling. I'm sorry. Like, that nigga's untouchable. Like, you can't guard that nigga when it comes to sampling. But
what would you say your favorite sample by is? He has so many classic ones. Personally, me, I would say the top. I give you 3. Through the Wire.
Okay.
Touch the Sky.
Okay.
And he has so many crazy ones. Through the Wire, Touch the Sky, and then I like Last Call.
Okay.
So those 3 would probably be the ones for me.
Through the Wire, definitely. It was one he had with Jamie Foxx.
Gold Digger?
Damn.
The classic.
Yeah.
A lot of his Twister shit was hard.
And Twister was on that bitch too, and I was like, that shit blew my
mind.
Yeah, and then Blood on the Leaves. Yeah. But that, just seeing that I could do a lot of things sonically, that was really cool. And I'm jazz trained, so I play saxophone. So it's like I already had like musical like ability. It was just now just focusing what I learned from that shit to learn this shit, and then like to make some new stuff. So
yeah. And he opened my eyes to a lot. I feel like we into different shit, so that like allows us to like really get into. Cause I grew up on like East Coast music. My dad was hella into like East Coast hip hop, so I was into like Big L and like Biggie, people like that. And then I kind of transitioned to like other stuff, and we just be into just different scenes and like seeing what people doing, because we know we sound different and we like making our own sound, so it's just cool to see other people make something out of nothing. I think that's important about art. Like we all got a choice to make something that nobody has ever done before, just by working stuff with our fingers and our minds. And that's just the cool thing about producing to me, because I started out producing too, but just seeing him like work through stuff, it's like he a scientist, bro. It's like he really in the lab, and seeing how he takes like nothing and builds it into something, that helped me. I feel like we grew as brothers for me just watching him work. Cause I feel like when I was rapping, I always just pushing my pen, and like as a rapper, you want to find other rappers that push your pen to do something, like just be crazy with it. And I feel like I'm not as good as producing as him, because he focused. It's cool to see somebody else do what they really good at and push other people. And it made me realize that we can all be good at something, and it'll make us like get even grander what we believe we can do and stretch out into like the universe. So yeah, this dude a genius, bro. Like it's like my brother type shit.
Let's speak on that a little bit more though. I know you said your pops had like a big influence on your sound. That's kind of similar to me with music. My mom is like a huge hip hop head. I just remember being like 6 or 7. And this was still when like you could still listen to CDs and like the CD player. And she had like Doggy Style, Biggie's first album. I'm listening to NWA. I'm like 6 or 7 though, but it's like hearing this shit. I don't know like what they're talking about, but it's like that was my early introduction to music through my mom. We used to watch like she used to show me like MTV raps and shit. So I learned like the history and the culture. So would you guys say like you had any siblings, family members that like kind of maybe like open your eyes to like music?
My mom, yeah. My mom's a very eclectic person. Like my mom, she'll listen to like some hardcore rock. She'll listen to some Portuguese music. She'll listen to like Fela Kuti. Like there was never a lack of diversity like when it came to listening to music. And my mom loved that I loved jazz. And that was like the consistent like string between us. Like if there was any like, if we couldn't listen to anything else, we knew we could listen to jazz. Like without a doubt, we could put jazz on and we'd be smooth. And I think it was more like surprising to my mom when I started doing like listening to rap, cause she was just like, "You listen to this?" So I was like, "Yeah." Because like, oh, you talk about beat that trick and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. This is dope.
I never even looked at it
Yeah,
like that. That's
yeah,
so
G.
true, bro.
Nah, it was like, and then I guess my taste changed, and I started getting to more stuff, and then my it's weird because I started getting my mom like more into like hip hop and rap, and so it was like we would when she would be driving me to like practice or to like to school or just for like events in high school, like I would just put something on the aux, and then she'd be like, "What's this?" And I tell her, and then she'd be like, "Okay, I like this," and then she'd like, "Add this to my library," and I'd be like, "Ah, bet, cool." And so like I had like a whole playlist that I made for her and shit like that, and so that was my mom. I really appreciate my mom, cause I didn't have like I would have loved to have like a focused look on hip hop like off rip. But I liked that I had like a look at all the other stuff that was out there, so that I could bring those influences into like how I do shit with hip hop.
For me, it was my pops. Like he would play stuff like Jamiroquai, Prince, Millie Ripperton.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, like it was just like crazy. Now that you made me think about it, like, cause I was like that growing up too, with so many different records in the crib, and
Chic.
yeah, it was crazy. He had so many records. He put me on to. He used to listen to Alexander O'Neal. Like, man, it was a lot of stuff like that. So just coming up on that, and I started getting into music myself. And my dad kind of got an attitude. He kind of the same way. He kind of the person that just is eclectic. He was always doing something different than everybody else in his family was. So when he started seeing me like in music, it was like, oh word. At first it was just a hobby for me because I was like real good at sports, and I started realizing what you can do with music is just so big. Like you can really change the way people think. So that's what made me want to like pursue it. And I started talking the same thing. I started talking to him more about hip hop. Then he gave me "Ready to Die" one day by Biggie.
Damn.
And I remember, bro, the funniest shit. I thought I was the hardest dude in high school. I remember my friends was like, "Gee, let's go out. Let's go do some like haunted house shit." I was like, "No, bro, I'm gonna just sit in the crib and just listen to "Ready to Die." I did that like in my Halloween freshman year, bro. And I was just like, listen, I had like an iPod, bro, and I was just, bro,
I don't need candy.
And I was like, fuck this
I
shit,
got
bro.
Biggie. That's all I need.
And I remember one of the first album I ever had on my iPod was Wu-Tang 36 Chamber, Into the Wu.
Okay.
And bro, they was I didn't realize how wild, like they was wilding on that shit, like, and just being like themselves. And I also grew up like in a Muslim household, so it was like some dudes who was just that looked like me, and they would also like believe the same things. It was just like being themselves. I was like, damn, I could do that too. So like having that example and just being able to identify with other people, it was just dope. And my cousin Darren, he was just hella into like skate culture and like anime, shit, BMX shit. Like we was just really into like exports and like just being into kaiju, Japanese shit, like reading, bro, like
You fucking weeb.
we was like some fucking nerds, bro. Video games, and it just opened our minds to like a lot in terms of the music, cause art decorates the world. My homie for the world said that. Yeah, it decorates the world.
Fuck you, ho, yeah, I might just do 100 stacks. I need a bad bitch with a fat ass and a tummy tuck. Bitch, this ain't a rumor, G, you know that we been coming up. Sorta like a winter, cause I had a ton of drugs. When I drop the goofy bitch, that's when this shit start lining up. I will rock your goofy boys unless they get the sun.
This is Unreleased as well? What's that called? Oh boy. Oh boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what I'm cooking on the beat. Yeah. And that shit not out. All of this shit like is not even out yet. It's all under the DI umbrella.
Oh boy, did you get that idea from like Cameron?
Okay, the funny thing, he names all the tracks, and I told him that when he named it that, I'm like a huge Cameron fan.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, I just be naming shit.
Yeah,
just
and I'm like,
whatever I'm feeling, I just name it. So it's like.
And I feel like that song kind of like really pushed us forward in terms of like finding the sound that we wanted, and it was just appropriate. He named it that, and I always was into like Dipset because he always just showed love to Out West Chicago, right. And like Out West Chicago is not a place that really gets showed love, so for him to do that shit was just cool.
Hey, what? Got the so bad, you see. Ain't here taking on no backseat. IG hoes wanna at me. Shaxy niggas wanna get me. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, do not touch up on my tree. Nigga, you ain't family. You ain't gang, you watch to me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, brother Musa, call me up. Said some niggas acting buck. We gon' see who really got it.
Why is my ex looking like a snack?
We gon' see who really
Damn
got
it! Damn it!
We gon' see who really got it. We gon' see who really got it.
And she cut her fucking hair, so she bald and thick.
Go through life, we live, we learn. It took some girls to different turns. She want to fuck that picture, third. All that picture, they get burned. We the shit, this shit's absurd. 50 kicks and vintage furs. 70 clips and vintage blur. 80 sips and plenty hurt. Weapons, one got laid in a fucking line. We dogs, but we don't really fuck a lot. Nigga, let me hear what you talking about. I'm gonna make a nigga do the walking out, fucking out. In the streets, I'll be serving out. Nigga, walk out, I'm gonna child.
What's the name of this one here? I like this.
Pull up freestyle.
Pull up freestyle? Okay, alright, that's hard. Just listening to these two tracks though, you kind of give me that Schoolboy Q feel. I was trying to pinpoint the album, but I hear that a lot, like that early Schoolboy Q. Not trying to, compare.
No, they ain't no. That's just dope. We be trying to just like, hey bro, and just like go with the flow. We got a lot of music, so.
It's like we
gonna play
did a lot of shit. Jungle, nigga, wow, you're trying to get.
So, are you planning on dropping like a project in 2020?
Yeah, we doing like. Right now we taking it with the Dumb Intelligence shit.
Yeah.
We working on Wuzii Reems shit and like a lot of other like subsets under Dumb Intelligence.
It's
also
kind of
a solo stuff.
That's why you said Wuzii Reems, right? So that's you too?
Yeah, that's the group name.
It's just us trying to figure out how to do the rollout because when we do this, you want to do it right.
Right.
I feel like that's the one thing. Like niggas don't even want to do shit the right way. And like there's gonna be a time for just like dropping shit like on the week to week, but like we definitely want there to be like a build up to something just huge that can just be pushed like everywhere.
Exactly. And the thing like the thing I appreciate about the East Coast is like how y'all drop music. A lot of y'all drop a lot of music like continuously and just pushing it out. Yeah. And that's not like that in Chicago. People kind of take their time with it. And we like really different in that way. We kind of just push out records.
We can do both.
Yeah, we know how to like sit back. And this moment right now, we just sitting back so we can just really push out music for everybody and they can just hear new shit.
Okay. You're funny as hell.
Dumb intelligence, bitch, these niggas don't deserve us. Got a new bitch, you know I went to the curb, boy. Come out bad niggas when I really found my purpose. Bitch, we dummy with a blood, we deserve it. Dumb intelligence, bitch, these niggas don't deserve us. Got a new bitch, you know I went to the curb, boy. Come out bad niggas when I really found my purpose. Bitch, we dummy with a blood, we deserve it. Do not call me buddy, cause I'm not your fucking buddy. I keep on disrespecting me, I might just burn this image down. Let me miss some felony and blow some trees for better now. Let it through my lungs, I'm drowning, but the high is so hard. So fuck on niggas scared, cause I'm in my lane. I got 2 20s on the dash, and I might go insane. I'ma face another blunt and do my shmoney dance. My baby girl, I love her as long as she don't do dance. I can't leave with no goofies, boy. I only fuck with certain folks. Just be a real nigga, and you'll see how much your circle for. I never gave a fuck before. When you get the foot alone, cameras flashing, shutters closed. Let me pull another hoe. I know people be funny, they move like they live amongst the kids. I'm for bitches and get money, it ain't that much to me. Flip a break, double G, she got fans, some double D's. I'm a beast, fuck the league. I'm fuck your bitch, she fuck the streets, nigga. I'm intelligent, bitch, these niggas don't deserve us. Got a new bitch, you know I went to the curb, boy. Come out bad niggas when I really found my purpose. Bitch, we dummy with the blood, we deserve it. Dumb intelligence, bitch, these niggas don't deserve us. Got a new bitch, you know I went to the curb, boy. Come out bad niggas when I really found my purpose. Bitch, we dummy with the blood, we deserve it.
What's that one called? Jungle. Why'd you name it that?
Cause I don't know, this nigga was doing a lot. This nigga, like when he records, oh my god, this man. I'm so glad my neighbors fuck with me because this nigga be like, what? No, like, bitch, and I'll be like, facts. Like, That's why nigga think we. That's why they think we beating somebody.
Yeah, cause they don't hear the music, bro. They tell me like
they just hear like they just because he got his headphones in. And it's quiet in there.
It's just him screaming.
So when you walking down the hallway, you just hear some like, bitch. You like, oh shit. Oh, man, oh. And the thing is, our building's one of those buildings where like niggas be like popping off. Like shorties be having arguments with they niggas in the courtyard and shit. This nigga shot up the block like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, gee, niggas getting fucking stolen off of. I'm like,
yeah, it be some wild shit happening out his building, but it helps us with our music.
you're fucking ugly, bro.
I'm like, we be experiencing some wild shit. Like it be
wow,
like,
nigga. He said it's for the culture.
It's for the culture.
It's okay. Let me see. Should I do boss up?
Yeah, this is like the dumb intelligence, like the group, like posse cut type shit.
Yeah. Alright, so this the whole team on this one.
The whole team on this one.
The bottom up. You now in tune to the dumb intelligent populace, culminating the cultural trauma. You still a product of.
That's like the whole team?
Yep.
Okay.
That's all the rappers right there.
So that's coming out this year too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be like the introduction to it all, and then class.
And class.
Bitch! Me and my goons out here with the gang, just like Scooby-Doo, I'm fly. Bitch, the diamonds only do the chicken noodle soup. How the fuck so many bitches? Cause I knew that shooters shoot. We got them numbers going through the roof. We know them niggas not bulletproof. It's dumb running nigga, cause I got hella chickens in the newer coupe. It's more with niggas like a newer crew. Pull up on their ass like a Uber pool. It's bitch and they do is fool. I got so many of them, I don't know who to choose. I'm psyched with niggas like a movie crew. I got the who can shoot, I get the Gucci too.
I said it's back, got a nigga feeling like he finna take off. So do you wanna give me brain blast till you know the charm? Belly full of honey, posted royal and some Gucci sauce. Got a bad bitch from the A, and she taught me off. I'ma hit a slang, get my own green on range. Niggas switching lanes, I'ma switch my chains. I'ma switch the flow, have a couple of other cooks. Loading guns don't wanna talk, they wanna show.
Yeah, so that's class. So that'll be the first like Wuzii Reems single that we'll drop. It'll kind of get shit going.
But even though you guys are a collective, Wuzii Reems is just like a collaborative between you two?
A collaborative within the collective.
Yeah, within the collective. So it's like a subset. Like,
So like, no matter what, we're gonna keep this shit within dumb intelligence.
Intelligence is
Unless
all
it's like some solo shit,
Right.
like real talk. Like anything else that we do is just gonna be under dumb intelligence.
yeah, we got we got other groups within dumb intelligence too.
Yeah.
That's like that we do.
Yeah.
So just keeping everything in-house.
Yeah, and we also want to like give people like different sounds. So like whenever we feel like we transitioning towards making something new, it kind of happens naturally. Cause we want to talk about what we did with like Lex and Wave and like kind of like combining that. Like we just like trying to work on like certain shit. Like and like just figure out like certain
I want to
things.
keep that one in the pocket.
Yeah, we trying to like really do some wild shit. Like, and this is like keeping that idea, certain things, and like trying to see how they work out and making sure like it's right in that moment. And sometimes it takes like a couple tries. We'll work through mistakes. And we always like to say we make aggressive mistakes because we'll think something don't work, and then we'll find something else that's like better type shit. So Musa Reems wasn't even a thought until like probably like a couple weeks ago, but we just realized we really work well together.
Black guy?
Yeah.
Sure.
What's this called? Black Eye?
Yeah.
It's my bitch. It's my bitch. She's mine. That bitch mine. I love her. I need a bitch who hooked on phonics. Pussy wet tsunami. Who who like Takis? You a Friday night, no pussy, get a nigga, stop it. You the type of nigga yell at moms and take a wallet. Niggas wanna rap, I talk my shit, but move in silence. Dedication ain't about the flex, it's about the process. Steady talking shit, boy, why not do something about it? Cause you shady and I might just fuck around and put a chopsticks, put a hold up in your ramen.
Hella niggas is goofy hoes, making they feelings like bitches now. If she not boo, she can sell. A stack in the paper, I will not take it down. Gotta simple loud. Niggas wanna talk to me about how it's real different now. I never change, I got my bitches out. The shit on my neck, probably 50 down. My left wrist water boy, so I call it Adam Sandler. Every wild pull up to, it's a good amount of cameras. Look, it's a lot of their presidents on me, my nigga, my wallet, a fucking graveyard. Pull up to the scene, niggas fool. Talk about a ghost, like a seance. This bitch call me daddy, like a foster child. Fuck lots around, if I plug up, nigga, just a cop out. Always been there, see a lot of clowns. Party wild, knock it down.
I gotta play Tesla. I was about to me and this nigga think shit, and he said, I was like, we gotta play y'all Tesla, bro. That's the one song, yeah. That's like the first song. I didn't even know this nigga raps until like September, bro. This nigga literally hit up the group chat. He said, yeah, nigga, I got a new mic. Come on my crib. And this nigga rapping on the track. I'm like, damn, I don't know he rap like that. Bro, I literally wrote to that shit that night. And that's how cool. He literally let me come to the crib, lay down the verse, and it was like what it is. This is like the first. This is how Dumb Intelligence really like came into what it was. Cause we was working like together, but we didn't have a sound yet. If that makes sense, and we didn't know what we wanted to do.
Yeah. Let me see. Which mix was it? No.
So this is an older track here.
Yeah, it's an older track.
Okay. Is it released or?
No, it's not released.
Oh, okay.
We performed this one though.
Yeah.
We've been performing this one, so it's been.
It's not really that old.
Hey.
Yeah, this is like pipe.
You already know what the fuck going on. Yeah, nigga. I up and listen, got this new mic, feeling brand new and shit. Yeah, nigga. Yeah. Hey, yeah, what? Yeah, what? Yeah, we vacancy like a bachelor. Yeah, you'll call it fast, but my car, that bitch go faster. I'm a Tesla, driving like I'm fucking plaster. Yeah, my ex a model, nigga, you can fucking ask her. Yeah, hey, yeah, I'm blaster. Hey, nigga, talk that shit, it's a disaster. I got niggas up that hole and make your back hurt. Got that tutu in that ooh, now you made her.
Shorty want me, I don't got time for feelings, I just want don't peace, don't speak. Got love in my city like home team. Got a shorty on the East Coast, bitch, I flew away from Jones Beach. Same thing remain me, nigga make cheese. Shorty pull up and flip-flop some Lincolns in the plain G. Phase 3, pay attention, bitch, this ain't free. Never left the house without a pole just for safety.
That was the first song we performed at our first show, and like niggas lost their shit, bro. Cause niggas didn't even know what the fuck we were.
We kind of just announced this shit, bro, and it was cool because like I feel like we all been like doing our solo stuff, and like people didn't expect all of us to come together, bro. Right. And we came together to do something.
That's uncommon.
Yeah. We got a lot of music, bro. Like we've been really working. Like it's cool too because it's winter time. Yeah. So this is what we do all day, like.
We've been locked in.
And it feels so good to be locked in too, cause it feels natural. And I feel like what me and him be trying to do. I was telling him if I had a chance to really be in the studio, I don't know how much better I get. Yeah. Like we've been doing it like consistently every day.
Look, these niggas don't like me. Cause I don't give a fuck. Go pipe up a bad bitch. Then we gon' twist up, blow, hit them up, dip and start. He got more bars than prisoners. Nigga, we're telling the jiggers, I'm trigger bust, them or us. We just tryna get figures, I'm just in New York. You can't tell if it's jigger us. Yeah, pocket 3, what up with me? Ice like a hockey ring. We got it looking like a forest fire in the whip, I nigga look.
DI shit 2020.
Yep.
Young nigga shit, you feel me? Chicago,
Yeah.
Baltimore, Detroit, Kansas City, and we in New York.
Yeah.
Diamond Cut.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Diamond Cut LLC, man. Y'all real
Shout out to
smooth,
T
man.
for being the guy.
Yeah,
You know
real
what I'm
ass
saying?
nigga,
He slid
bro.
out here. We was talking for like 30
Yeah.
minutes. We in Queens. He came, bro. No, he came to Queens for us, y'all. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's love
On everything.
on everything.
Yeah.
Day one.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate
bro.
you.
See, I think